Nothing from Grandy. What was Grandy saying today?
I don't even remember. I forget that if I'm not taking the selfie, I don't mind. Okay.
Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Hey, Bobby Manning here, Game 6, just an hour away, and we're outside MSG. Come on, Noah. Look pumped, look thrilled.
I'm excited.
I'm
excited for this game. Less than an hour. What is it, 7:30 right now? We don't have the starting lineups yet. I think that's the big thing that everybody's anticipating. But really good vibes in this building. And honestly, like, a good light feeling in the pregame locker room, too, I thought. Like, this doesn't feel...
You're really leaning into the locker room.
I'm leaning into the locker room because the vibes were great last game. And
they were regular today, from what I saw.
Yeah, I feel like... I don't know. I feel like they're in a good headspace. Even at shoot-around today, we heard from Peyton Pritchard. We had heard from Sam Hauser. I think they feel a little bit like they just want to keep the season going. So there's not all this pressure of, like, we need to win the championship right now. It's just like, let's just stay alive.
That was the quote I loved most from Peyton before the game.
The last thing any of us want to do right now is go home
and sit on the couch or whatever he said.
I know.
That was good stuff from him, Hauser, talking about the pace. And that was the big thing I noticed from Game 5 and why I'm looking forward to the starting lineup and what we're going to see here. They played faster. They got to smaller lineups. I still can't get past that stat. The 3-guard lineup with the 150 offensive rating last game. Outstanding stuff. They outscored the Knicks by 41 points per 100 in those minutes. We haven't seen that group all year, and then when they needed the most, those guys were amazing.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes the stats don't always match the eye test. In this case, you could feel the 3-guard lineup really working. I think they're going to do a lot more of that today. I think we're going to see a lot more Luke Kornet today. Joe Mazzulla was on the radio yesterday on Zolik and Bertrand, and he was talking about, you know, he was asked, like, are more Luke minutes inevitable? And he's like, we're going to continue to lean on him. And I think he's a guy that really changed that game. And a lot of people feel like maybe if Luke had played more in the series, they'd be in a better spot. But
do you think he'll start?
I think so. Yeah, because I think you want to get off to a good start. You're at Madison Square Garden. This crowd's going to be crazy, and he's going to give you a really good energy. And then you can
He's going to scare the fans, too, when they see him come out after what he did last game.
Yes, Luke is the guy right now. Torrey Craig walked in a Luke Kornet jersey to this one. I think
ESPN gave Luke a pregame interview, and he had the third quarter or whatever between quarters interview last game on the broadcast.
So this is, I mean, I think those are going to be the keys. Like Joe talked about it pregame. He said the keys to Game 5 was, you know, offensive rebounds, closing out quarters. The live ball turnovers have continued to be a thing. These are coach speak, but it actually is like a lot of what they've struggled with in this series is turning over the ball. I think if Jaylen Brown approaches this game the way that he did Game 5, like that's a big reason. You know, that was a huge approach shift. You know?
I was looking at his numbers from the last game. What stuck out to me most, and we talked about it because we saw it, he did not lead the team in touches. Derek White did.
And I think that's completely fine, right? Like the whole idea with Jaylen right now is that he's going to have that gravity, right? He always does, but now it's really him.
And it's off the ball, it's in transition, ahead of the play, like getting different positions to score.
And I mean, Derek had 34 points in that game. That was like a pretty quick. He had 19
34?
in the first. 34.
Get out of here.
19 points in the first half. He scored 14 of the Celtics' first 18 points. And so Derek kind of got the offense going, and he's somebody that's going to be able to do that again. Like, that's not like fluke shooting. He was 7 of 13. He's a great three-point shooter. I think you're going to see Peyton Pritchard get a lot of touches as well. Both of those guys took like 17 shots in this one. So Jaylen did not try to take over Game 5. That was the key. Like you said, he didn't lead the team in touches. He didn't lead the team as far as like, I'm going to, you know, take the ball and go ISO. Like you could see that he was finding the right player at the right moment. And so they're going to need that again. This is going to be a multi-guy effort. And I do think those three guys, those are your three leading scorers that are remaining on this roster. It's Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard. And those three guys are going to continue to have to, you know, flirt with like 20 apiece to keep this team in it.
Yeah, and the big thing we talked about too is whether those guys can repeat those performances here on the road. That's always the common conception, is that the role player performances go down in a game like this. I'm worried about Porzingis starting again. I know Joe was talking that up on the radio.
We still don't have anything on that?
Still nothing. I don't want to see it. I feel like we've seen enough of it already. I get he wants to keep him involved. He's active for this game. He looked solid at shoot-around, but it's just gone downhill so fast.
And I think, again, I don't want to do the whole speculating his illness thing, so we can save that for another time. But whatever it is, like, he's around the team. He's able to go through shoot-around. I don't think he's sitting there, like, feeling awful at all hours of the day. But when it comes to playing at an NBA game, it's not enough to just be like, I feel decent. You know, you have to be playing at an NBA level with your wins at an NBA level, and that's what we haven't seen right now. So I think Joe keeps coming back to Kristaps because at a certain point he thinks to himself, like, I have an all-star talent on this bench, and all it's going to take is one little stretch where he's going to get unlocked, and that could change the series. The problem is we're at Game 6 now, and we still haven't seen it really in this entire postseason. So I would hope that he goes away from that, and maybe they give him a little bit of run in the second quarter, in the first quarter, or something like that, and just see, you know, can he give you something in a few minutes? And if not, move away from it altogether.
That's why they'll probably start him, just so they can get away from him quickly like last game. But man, 101 offensive rating, him and Horford together in this series. They've been outscored by 15 per 100. It's not a great look for them right now.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot more small ball. Like, it's kind of inevitable. The rebounding has been a challenge for this team, but it's not like the bigs have done a great job on the boards, and therefore, like, you got to have Porzingis out there because he's crashing the glass. He's really not. So in my eyes, it's like, just put out your best five right now, and your best five is Drew, Derek, and Peyton on the floor most of the night. And so everybody has to make a point of it. I think they survived the glass, the rebounding in Game 5, but it's been a struggle throughout the series. Even when they're not getting out-rebounded, it's like it's taking everything in them to grab those defensive rebounds. Like, this is not a typical rebounding series. So that's going to keep being a focus.
So there's a lot of people out here. They're spilling into the arena quickly. We got an 8 o'clock game. So I think it'll be lively by the time people end up getting in here, especially at game time. But there's no craziness yet. My inclination was that there's going to be a nervous feeling in this crowd tonight because you're up 3-1, you lose badly in the Game 5, and you've been down double digits in every game if you're the Knicks. I think there's going to be some nervousness in this crowd about blowing this series, especially just because what Knicks fans have been through over the years.
Absolutely. I mean, I know pressure is a weird it's a weird concept, but I think the pressure is more on New York right now, even though the Celtics have their back against the wall and they're the defending champs. And I don't know that they would agree with me. I think they feel a lot of pressure to keep the season alive.
They seem relaxed, though.
In a way, they do seem a little bit relaxed. It kind of feels a little bit like they're playing with house money, and I don't want to say that because this team is really, really good, even without Jason Tatum. But the Knicks, they had a 3-1 lead, and when you have the commanding lead in the series, it's like every game becomes a little bit of like, okay, we blew one. They lose tonight, that's a really dangerous place to be in. I even remember after the Celtics lost, Game 4 in Dallas last year, it was like a lot of pressure heading into Game 5 because it starts to feel like, are the tides turning in the series? And like you said, these two teams have faced off 9 times this season. 8 of the 9 times, the Celtics have led by double-digit points. And so they have had a really good grasp on this team. It's just the question is, if this game gets close, can Boston figure out something in the clutch? Because that's where it's been really lopsided so far.
I think they're going to get off to a good start because Luke Kornet is starting.
Oh my God,
center
breaking
in this
news.
Game. From third center to first center.
Oh my God.
Unreal.
Bobby, how would you have felt 2 years ago if you would know in a playoff game right now, Luke Kornet is going to be your starting center?
It couldn't get any better than what we saw the other night. I mean, I'm still having dreams about what we saw there with the crowd, with him dunking every time, with the blocks. And I'm so glad that this is going to get a chance to continue. Again, I think when they announce his name in starting lineups tonight, all these fans are going to be like, oh, shit. Like, after what he did last game, that guy's definitely on the Knicks fan shit list, even though he used to play for this team.
And here's the one thing I'll say. I think a lot of Luke's success this past season came from teams kind of underestimating him and maybe him coming out with a motor that other opposing bigs didn't match, or sometimes there wasn't even bigs out there. And so
he starts well. He's been in that role before and has played well.
The only thing I'll say is, if they were a little bit caught off guard by Luke Kornet in Game 5. He hadn't been much of a factor in the series. He played limited minutes, 9 minutes in Game 4. So nobody's approaching Game 5 thinking we gotta prioritize limiting Luke Kornet. Now he's the reason why, in a lot of ways, you lost this game so big time, right? He turned around everything in that third quarter. So they're going to come in with a lot more focus and a lot more intention. And so I wonder if they're going to be able to mitigate his impact a little bit because it's not going to be like he's slipping under through the cracks and he's coming in crashing the glass, and everybody knows now. Not that he wasn't on scouting reports before, but he's going to be one of the focal points.
Yeah, and he can go against Josh Hart. He can do a lot of the stuff we saw in that last game. I love this move, and to me, it signals them probably getting away from Porzingis a little bit, whether for strategic reasons or because he just can't play. It might just be something where he's available just to scare the Knicks and keep them on their toes about whether he's playing or not. But my prediction is that we're not going to see much of him here tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we will. I think that he's going to get a stint, and if this stint goes anything like the last 10 stints have gone, I would imagine Joe's going to move away from it.
Could we see Kata?
I don't think so.
I'm keeping an eye out for it.
I mean, listen, they might need a breather, and so maybe, but I would be surprised that for the first time this entire postseason in an elimination game at Madison Square Garden, Kata gets his first minute.
Torrey Craig got a minute.
Maybe we get a couple minutes like late in a second quarter or something like that, just to kind of come in, foul Mitchell Robinson, crash the glass.
They're gonna need someone to do it now, and maybe that is Porzingis.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't hate it because I think what you've gotten out of Porzingis in these games in the series is pretty much nothing, and so. I don't know, is Kata going to be worse? I don't know. At a certain point, this is a guy who's been on your NBA roster. It's the second year with the team. He has a lot of upside, right? He can crash the glass and bring a lot of energy. I worry a little bit about him defensively to come from having not really played any NBA playoff basketball, and now you're going to come in and New York's going to target him every single time. So I would imagine we probably don't see Kata, but it would be exciting if we did.
It would be. I'm not counting on it from Joe. So let's talk about it. What's going to happen here? I've been trying to get a prediction out of you all day. Now's the time.
Listen, I said it after game 5. It's hard. I flip-flopped a lot in the series, and I think that's only fair.
Game 1,
we don't need to go through the whole thing. All I'll say right now is after game 5, I said I think this team is going to win the series. I'm going to stick with it. Am I nervous about the prediction? Yes. Do I feel like without a doubt they got this? Absolutely not. This is going to be an uphill battle. But I think they're going to win the series. I think they're going to win tonight. I think they're going to close it out in Game 7. But it's going to take everybody replicating what they did in Game 5.
This is your fourth prediction in the series.
Well, you've asked me for a prediction after every game, so yes.
Okay. I think you were right after Game 2, but I do think they're going to win here. I think they're going to get a Game 7. They've been so good on the road all year that it's just not that surprising if they come through in this spot. The role player thing scares me a little bit. The Knicks having this chance to put this away at home scares me a little bit after they played so badly and missed a lot of makeable shots really in that Game 5 to me. The Celtics had as good of a call in this game. I thought that was a little bit of a part of Game 5 too, so I'm definitely nervous. And then the crunch time thing you talked about. But I do lean toward them winning in this one.
One of the things that gives me a little bit of encouragement is I think in Games 1 and 2 and 4 too, you saw this team be very tight. They're the better basketball team. I will maintain that. I know Knicks
the home
fans,
team's always going to be more tight in this spot to me.
Yes, and you would think maybe the team that's on the verge of elimination, but something about them being down Jason Tatum, and I feel like the expectations are kind of out the window. You could sense that they played with a different level of freedom in Game 5. Maybe I'm completely wrong. You might see a team that looks a little bit more free down the stretch, and even in crunch time, they might be a little bit more free.
Game.
So we'll see, because they've really struggled. The 3 games that have gone down to the wire, New York won all 3 of those, right? So that's been the difference in the series. You can't expect them to blow out the New York 2 more times. So they're going to have to execute in the clutch, and we haven't seen that yet in the series. I think they can get there. I also am not worried about the role player thing. Pritchard had his best game of the series here at Madison Square Garden, and I don't consider Derek White a role player anymore. He's hit so many big shots in so many big arenas.
He's your third center.
Oh, you're worried about Luke on the road?
I'm not worried about Luke, but
you're a little worried.
I'm never worried about Luke. I feel good about it. I'm going to say win, which might not be good for all you out there.
But it's a very tentative win, so it's not a jinx.
That worked last game.
It's not a jinx.
Let me try it again. Just like everything else they did worked last game. We'll see if it all repeats itself.
None of us really have a clue right now. This has been such an unpredictable series.
For sure.
If anybody thinks they've had a grasp on the series, they have not.
We've underrated the Knicks every step of the way, all of us collectively. They've been great. And it's going to be hard to win this game. I don't think there's a blowout win for the Celtics if they get it. And again, to your point, they haven't won a close game here. So it's going to take a different style for them to win this game. And there we go. We got our fan input.
Knicks in 6.
They've said that every game.
There were a lot of Knicks in 5 chants last time.
Interesting atmosphere out here. It's quiet. There's a lot of people, but it's quiet. There's not a lot of chants. There's not a lot of buzz. Not too many Celtics fans yet, which I think has been a constant here. But I think that's better for the Celtics here. So let us know what you're feeling. Get in the comment section there. Tweet us, whatever you want to do. But that's it for us out here, outside Madison Square Garden. We want to do one more of these. I want
to do a lot more than one more of these.
Okay. Hopefully the Celtics can make it happen for us here. But for now, Follow all our game coverage, subscribe, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access, and join us after the game for post-game live with all the reactions to this do-or-die Game 6. Celtics Knicks. For Noah Dalzell, I'm Bobby Manning, live from New York City.